Hi there, I'm Professor Heller Garland. I'm the coordinator of the Addiction Studies program here at UNT, and I wanted to take a moment to tell you about how to become an LCDC, which is the license you need in addictions in the state of Texas to be an addiction counselor. And this is a great option for people who are getting an undergraduate degree because you can become a licensed addiction counselor and work in the field of addiction counseling with only an undergraduate degree. It's the only counseling degree that you can do that with. Any other uh, counseling license requires an advanced degree. So it's a great option for people who want to get out of their undergraduate program and go straight into the workforce. And you can work full time. And you could do that while in grad school, or you could do that and not go to grad school. Completely up to you. To begin, I'm going to share my screen. I'm also going to send along uh, a PDF or a Word document that has all the information on it so you can have it in any way that you want. And at the end of this PowerPoint, you'll also see links that I'll provide on both the document and here in the slideshow. So hopefully someone will be able to give you all or at least one of these. So now you should be able to see the slideshow, and the slide should say how to become an LCDC in Texas. So let's move on from here. The agenda is I'm going to go over how to apply for the LCDC, the requirements after you make application, taking the LCDC test, and some additional information that might be helpful to you. So after graduation, and if you graduate with an addiction studies degree, there are some other degrees that you may graduate with that can make you eligible for this. It just depends on what your major or minor is in. If you're not an addiction studies major and you have questions about if your degree is eligible, just reach out to me and I will give you that information. So the first thing you do after you graduate is you submit your application for LCDC intern status. And interns can do all the work that an LCDC does. You can get paid for it. You can work full time. You can work in treatment centers. You can work in all the same places as an LCDC. It just means you have to have supervision while you're doing those hours. And I'll explain that a little more in a minute. So the application, I'll link to the application. It's a two-page application. It just asks very general and basic information. It's more like demographics. You have to have that completed and you have to have it notarized. And that is one of the things that goes in the package for you to submit. The next thing is a full face photo. I suggest going to somewhere like CVS or Walgreens and getting a passport photo. That's a perfect kind. That's exactly what they're looking for. They're not too expensive. You also submit a $65 fee. $25 of that is the application fee, and $40 of that is a background investigation fee. They do a criminal background check. If you have any kind of criminal offense in your past, that doesn't mean that you can't be an LCDC. Many people can. The areas that are absolute no's is if you've ever had a homicide offense or had some kind of sexual offense. Otherwise, you can probably be licensed. There's just a waiting period, and that depends on like time of conviction, etc. And the waiting periods are like 4 years, 7 years, 10 years, depending on the offense. And it starts again at conviction. So many people who maybe are in recovery and have a background, or you were drawn to the field for other reasons and have some sort of issue in your background, most people are eligible. And I've even seen people with some of those big offenses, quote unquote, become licensed with making application and an appeal to the state. The next thing you need is digital fingerprints. You get your fingerprints taken at a place called Identigo, and I will provide you a link to that, and there's a phone number. You go into one of those locations, you give them a code. I'll provide you with the code on the instructions I give you, and They have them all over the state of Texas. There are multiple of them around Denton and the Denton and the DFW area. And you just go in there. I'm sure it costs money to pay the fee to get the fingerprints. I don't believe that it's much. It's been a while since I've done it. You take your fingerprints, they're digitally sent to the state for you. And then you have to include an official transcript, and that transcript has to be after you've completed all the requirements. So you'll want to wait until after graduation or until you've completed all the required addiction courses and the practicum. And you make sure that you either have UNT send the official transcript to the state, or I would advise you get the official transcript. An official means that it comes directly from the university and it's in a sealed envelope, has the signature on the back of it and everything necessary. And do not open it or it's not official anymore. And you put it in your package. And that is what you need to begin the whole process. So once you have all that together, you mail that to the state, and it shouldn't take long. It's just a few weeks that you will hear back from them. When you hear back from them, what you should expect to receive if you get the license. And if you don't, that just means probably you're missing something or you didn't meet the requirements. And the only thing that I would say could exclude you is either the criminal background check or not having the correct education. And it's usually just having to send them whatever is missing. They will send you back whenever you do get the license as an intern. They will send you the license to practice as an intern. And you need this for a job. You'll need this for any employer when you go to work. They will give you like a large certificate for your wall, which you must have hanging up in your office, and they'll give you a small one for like your wallet or somewhere, and you're supposed to have that with you anytime that you're actually practicing, and it will come with a letter. Your employer will ask for those things. It will also include a license number. So when you go anywhere where they ask for your license number, you'll remember that. Mine is a 4-digit code, but I believe by now they are 5-digit codes. So while you are an intern, you'll need to complete 4,000 hours. That's 2 years of full-time work experience. And you can work in any place, again, that an LCDC who's fully licensed can work, but you have to have those hours supervised. And your supervision has to be documented. And I want to give you a tip about the documentation. If you're required by the state, or the treatment center or wherever you work is required by the state to keep all of your documentation like in a notebook or something in their office in case the state ever comes in to audit the facility. That means that you aren't in possession of the documentation. So what I suggest is that the place that you work keeps a copy of your documentation and you keep a copy of your documentation, because if for any reason they lose your documentation or you stop working there and you walk out without your documentation, it's possible you could work all those hours and not have your hours documented, and you have to repeat those hours. I've actually seen it happen more than once. I knew an intern who had an argument with their employer, and the employer fired them. They had a dispute. They walked out. They didn't take their paperwork with them, and then the employer didn't want to give them their paperwork. And although that's unethical and very awful, it was horrible to go through that whole process. They reached out to me to ask if I could just write a letter saying, I know they completed their hours, but I can't do that because a letter is not what you need. You need each week supervision of documentation. So keep a copy of every week that you meet with your supervisor. They fill out a form, they sign it, you sign it, and it goes into this notebook. Make sure you have a copy just in case. Just don't ever, just in case. So, where can you work when you are an LCDC intern? I will provide you a list of all of the licensed treatment centers in the state of Texas. You can break them down by county, by city, and there's always a live list on the state's website. So if the one that I have for you isn't the most updated, you can go get one from the state's website that will be the most updated. So you will look for a CTI site, and CTI stands for Counselor Training Institute. That means there's someone designated at that facility to be the qualified credentialed counselor that is responsible for all the documentation, all of the education of the interns. They're noted by the state as the designated person, and they are the ones who coordinate any interns or all interns at that facility. They may not be the person that directly supervises you, but they are the ones that are responsible for all of the paperwork, etc. If you live in a remote area and you cannot find a facility that is a CTI site and licensed by the state, there is an exception. You could work under the direction of an LCDC who is also designated as a qualified credentialed counselor, which is a QCC. That is not the norm. And if you do that, you may not be exposed to all of the core functions that you need to be fully exposed to all the things you need to be exposed to, but it is an option. They made that option available for people who just can't find a location or don't have a location close enough to where they live to finish the internship. So once you finish that internship, the 4,000 hours, so it takes 2 to 5 years, you can do it in as quick as 2, and you have to do it within 5. If you don't finish within 5, your LCDC intern status expires, and you have to repeat some things. When you have to appeal to the state and ask them what you can do. They don't like that, and I suggest not running it into that. But if someone worked part-time, they could get their hours done in 4 years. But in addition to the hours, you also need to take the test. So prepare for the LCDC test. Even if you get a degree in addiction studies or you minor in addiction studies, I highly recommend that you take an LCDC prep class for the testing. If I took the test again today, even after practicing for over 30 years, for having my license since before some of you were born, I would still take the prep class. There's a couple of things you can do. One, make a study group with the other people. If you work with a lot of interns or several interns at your facility, get a study group together. You take the initiative to do that, or go through a prep class. There are some available that UNT will be offering, and then there are some available that a place called the Institute of, I think it's called the Institute of Chemical Dependency Studies, offer. And I don't know if they offer those online or if they're only in the Austin and San Antonio area, but they are out there. And I also recommend everyone getting this. I didn't write it. It's not my promotion. It is from a place called readytotest.com, and you get the LCDC study guide and and it's called just Getting Ready to Test. And it says drug and alcohol credentialing examination, because what we take here in the state of Texas is not the Texas exam. We take an international exam. So it's applicable to multiple states. That's a benefit to you because if you ever move from Texas, your license would have reciprocity in multiple other states. I think that it's up to 38 states, which is a benefit to you. And here on this page, I've provided you with links to the instructions for licensing. If you forget what we talked about here today, don't let that page confuse you. It is not the most easy to follow. It's just not real user friendly. It doesn't break it down how I did. It breaks it down as if you were at least 18 years old and you had a GED. It breaks it down from that standpoint. When you finish your bachelor's degree, you will far exceed the minimum requirements. So when it says things like take 270 clock hours in addiction counseling, you've already done that in your degree. There's a lot of things on there that just seem complicated and confusing. I will also link you to the actual two-page application. I will link you to the ready to test place and the actual manual that is beneficial. And then once you finish all of your hours and you've passed your test, it's the Texas Certification Board who issues your license. So that is where you would go, and I've got that link there for you. So that is not the same place that you register to become an intern. They are also the people who provide the license. So, I'm sorry, not the exam. They provide the exam. So you register with them. And the exam is 150 questions, and it covers a number of things. It's a lot of the things that you learned in the addiction studies courses. So, some counseling theories, some actual counseling, um, uh, basic counseling skills, some ethical questions. It's going to give you about 13 questions on a case presentation, and you'll answer them. It is all digital, it's all computerized, and you can register to take it at locations near you. A lot of community colleges offer that to proctor it at their location, and I will provide you some information on test prep when you get to that point and you want to take a test prep class. If you have any questions at all, I want to provide you with my contact information. Again, I am here at UNT. I'm in the College of Health and Public Service, and our department is Rehabilitation and Health Services. My email address is paula.heller-garland@unt.edu. I'd be happy to answer any questions. And if you ever want to stop by, I'm often here on Wednesdays, and I'm in Chilton Hall 218L. It's better to make an appointment with me, because if I'm not here, I don't want you to make a trip and miss me, and you have to do that all over again. So I do appreciate I appreciate you paying attention to this information. I hope that you want to become an LCDC. We desperately need them. Addiction has definitely not lessened. It is just rising, and we need people out there so very much. We just don't have enough LCDCs in Texas, and with and a population of about 25 million in the state of Texas, we only have 7 or 8,000 LCDCs, and many of us are getting to the age where we want to retire. So we desperately need you. If you have a heart for helping, this is a fantastic place to do it. I hope I see you out there in the field. Again, if you have questions, reach out. If you need any of these links and something goes wrong and you can't find them, please let me know, and I'd be happy to help you. Hope you have a great day, no matter where you are or what you're doing. Take care.